What's up, everybody? It's your boy Hokage here. Welcome to the video. Today we've got 5 episode reviews in one video. Since I don't want this video to be like 10 hours long, the reviews are gonna be short. So without further ado, let's get into Boruto episode 133 review. Episode 133 was a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna say it straight away. Even though I don't take stuff such as animation and soundtrack into account when I give episode ratings to these episodes, I still like to mention these factors from time to time if I feel like they're being done super well or super bad, I guess. And man, the soundtrack in this episode, I mean, I said this earlier in this time travel arc or whatever you want to call it. You know, the soundtrack has been great. I mean, they're pretty much using the old soundtrack from Naruto, and in my opinion, Naruto has the best soundtrack in all of anime, at least including the series that I've seen. But this episode hits it on this episode hits on a whole new level, guys, and I really liked it. Obviously, this episode at the start includes that scene where Jiraiya, quote unquote jokingly, says, "Are you Sasuke?" I mean, that scene happened at the end of episode 132, and it ended that episode on a cliffhanger. And the reason why I said quote unquote is, I mean, guys, let's be honest, Jiraiya at this point either knows or he's like certain, like he like really suspects that this is Sasuke, but he most likely knows because Jiraiya is super smart and he probably caught on to something, but he's playing dumb for the time being. I mean, obviously I'm catching up on the episodes. I still haven't seen the remaining episodes. I'm gonna watch episode 134 now, but I assume by the end of this arc Jiraiya will become even more certain of it. But I'm honestly, I think he knows it at this point. Anyway, this I'm not gonna speculate too much because it's pointless. Because I mean, the next couple of episodes are already out. It's just that I'm behind. This episode had wonderful character interactions. Highlight of the episode was when Naruto was talking about Sasuke and their bond in the Ichiraku ramen shop. And overall, apart from some beautiful, I don't know, like nostalgic moments like that where Naruto talks about Sasuke and Sasuke's clan, we had some slice of life things going on at the end with Asuma, Shikamaru, and Choji. It was nice seeing Asuma again. And just one more thing about Jiraiya and Sasuke. When Sasuke was explaining, Urashiki's abilities and his own abilities, I don't know why, but I just get the vibe that Jiraiya knows everything at this point. So yeah, obviously at the end we have Urashiki attacking Naruto and Boruto, and then Jiraiya and Sasuke are there. I mean, Jiraiya must have seen the Rinnegan. Maybe not, maybe yes, but he's definitely onto something. It's just the fact that Boruto knows the Rasengan as well, and that Boruto and Naruto are so similar. And speaking of the Rasengan, looks like due to Naruto's good idea when he saw that leaf or whatever, Naruto and Boruto are closer to perfecting their combo, which I assume they will use at the end of this arc. And if my assumption is correct, well, if my prediction is correct, we might see like a similar moment to the father-son moment we saw at the versus Momoshiki arc. That would be kind of cool. But anyway, 10 out of 10 for me, and let's get into the next episode review. Alright guys, I just finished watching episode 134 and I really liked it, but I have one complaint. Just like how I complained with the whole Karasuki thing, it feels like it's done in a lazy way. The writers just come up with it, they give like a half-assed explanation, and boom, we're supposed to accept it. And like that sets the whole premise of this arc, and whatever. I don't like it. I don't think it's too serious or whatever, but whatever. And I kind of feel the same about this ability that Urashiki had. They just like kind of threw it out there. Like he never used it before. Like never. At least I think so. Yet he has it. And I mean, in this episode, he spams it. It just breaks logic. At least with the Karasuki thing, it's not that it breaks logic, but it's just that it feels pretty lazy. This breaks any logic. I mean, he never used it before. I don't even think I fucking understand the ability. Does he like temporarily transfer himself into the past and then technically he sees the future like the next couple of seconds? I don't even know, guys, nor do I want to know. It feels like a huge hole, and logical hole. I could be wrong, but that's my major complaint about this episode. Other than that, I'm not really gonna analyze it. I really I really liked the little plot twist at the end, and I really didn't see that coming. You know, the tactic that Jiraiya came up with, probably with the help of Boruto and Naruto. Again, I'm not even gonna analyze the entire episode. Everything was good, and you know, at points I was like, okay, what are they gonna do? I mean, there's this overpowered ability, and then boom, they came up with a counterattack, which was shown at the end of the episode. But again, you know, the ability, just like with the Karasuki thing, I don't like it. Plus, this completely breaks logic because Urashiki never used it before, at least to my knowledge. And even if he did, he certainly didn't spam it all the time like he's doing in this episode. So anyway, because of that, I'm gonna have to give this episode a 7 out of 10. I'm literally taking away 3 points for that because it really breaks all logic. So 7 out of 10 for me. And yeah, moving on to the next one. As I predicted earlier in this arc, we got like a final dad-son Rasengan moment. Now, although I thought we were gonna get a moment like that, I didn't really expect it to be this similar to the Momoshiki moment. Not only was the Rasengan moment similar, I mean, obviously we had the addition of Jiraiya's Rasengan and the keyring, which was pretty surprising. But also, I mean, Urashiki looked pretty similar to Momoshiki, and overall it looked very similar, but I kind of liked it. Now, what I didn't like was how this episode shits on what Urashiki's character could have been. I mean, from the moment we saw him for the first time in the versus Momoshiki arc, he seemed pretty mysterious. He seemed like he had a really unique personality. And as time went by throughout the series, he did, I guess, I see it now. He was kind of losing that personality, but I always thought, okay, we will get something huge from him in the future. And in this episode, he literally turns into a generic villain who just screams, I'm gonna kill you, trash, die, stuff like that, with no real motivations or anything like that. Disappointing. And I was actually blind. I just see this gradual shift towards him being a generic character. And this makes me really sad. You guys know from the versus Momoshiki arc days, if you watched my channel back then, that I was always a fanboy of Urashiki, and I'm very disappointed because of that. He referenced Boruto being a vessel in this episode, which is huge because that's referenced in the manga at one point in one of the latest Boruto chapters, and that's actually huge. But for the non-manga, for people who don't read the manga, I'm not gonna spoil too much. That was huge, but overall, this was very disappointing. Obviously, I enjoyed the last fight and that little Naruto Boruto moment at the end. I can't really explain it logically, but I guess they're connected because I mean Boruto is Naruto's son, right? And then somehow something happened. They connected in that space or whatever. Like I'm not even gonna get into that. Major disappointment, Urashiki. And overall, I liked this episode was full of cool moments, especially when Jiraiya made a comment to Naruto how having your disciple be like a fool or something like that. I'm not quoting him exactly or whatever. That was cool because like Sasuke made a similar quote in regards to Boruto at the end of the episode. I enjoyed it. Just because this kind of shits on Urashiki's character like 100%, I'm gonna give this episode an 8.5 out of 10 and not a 10 out of 10. But overall, the final fight was really good. But this completely ruins Urashiki's character. I'm only taking away 0.5 because realistically, there was a gradual shift towards him being a generic character. It wasn't just boom, okay, he's a shit character. So that's why it's only 1.5. But still. I mean, this episode could have been a 10, but yeah, this completely ruined Urashiki's character in my eyes. And yeah, on to episode 136 review. Episode 136 is officially the last episode of the time travel arc, and I must say it's my favorite episode of the arc. There was one episode in this arc which I actually reviewed earlier in this video, which up until this episode was my favorite, but this episode completely destroys all the competition. And in fact, I'd say this episode is one of my all-time favorite Boruto episodes. And there's a lot of Boruto episodes so far, 136 of them. So this is a huge statement, right? I really like this episode. Now, first of all, the episode starts off in a pretty funny way, and Boruto had good comedy. Boruto had bad comedy, but I will say this: I've never laughed this much when watching a Boruto episode like I did in those first couple of minutes where when Jiraiya was explaining how Boruto and Sasuke are these hardcore fans or whatnot, and how they read his book and then they researched everybody connected to Jiraiya. I was pissing my pants, guys. That was one of the funniest moments ever. Like, come on, man. I wish I did a live reaction because I was fighting for my breath. I literally could not breathe. That's how that's how funny it was to me, at least. Um, and overall, that kind of connects to my point when I say that Boruto has like godly slice of life at points, especially when you take into consideration this is like a shonen fighting anime. So yeah, that was, I think, one of my favorite parts of this arc in general. That intro scene. But overall, um, Jiraiya figured out that Sasuke probably has the ability to erase everything that's not supposed to be known, right? And I mean, Sasuke erases their memories. They come back. I really liked the way they got rid of Karasuki. I hope we're not gonna see him again in the series. I'm still not a fan of his introduction in the first place, but they really did get rid of him nicely. It's like, okay, pal, go on a life journey. Don't come back. I really like that. I will say one thing, and I'm not gonna go too deep. I'm not gonna like deeply talk about this, but what if Jiraiya actually left some notes or something like that? Like that could legit be very interesting. Like, obviously he lost his memories. I'm not denying that, but if he left some notes or whatever, that could be pretty interesting. But and somebody even commented that on my channel as well. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into that now. I might save that for a separate video. Even the interactions when Boruto and Sasuke came back, that Sakura Sasuke moment was so precious. I mean, like, even if you're not like a shipper or you're not really into the romantic aspect of the Naruto series, come on, guys, that was adorable. You must admit, that was just beautiful, actually. Naruto's and Boruto's interactions towards the end when they started eating those ramens or whatever, and also the comedic um, comments between the two. Denki's father was in this episode. I mean, boom, he got the idea for the company from Boruto. So really, he should share some of these profits with Boruto if he ever finds out that he actually got it from Boruto, right? I don't know, guys. I just love this episode. Overall, this arc had some horrible moments. And it had some of the greatest moments in all of Boruto so far. I really have mixed feelings about it. But anyway, this episode definitely gets a 10 out of 10 from me. And one thing that I'd like to say is that at the end, uh, Boruto and Naruto were talking in front of Jiraiya's grave, I guess, but Jiraiya's body is not actually there. Jiraiya's body was never found because it went just like it was. No, he was dying basically, and he was like sinking. I mean, with Kashin Koji and all this shenanigans, did he actually die? Especially now with all of this. Again, I'm gonna say that for a separate video. But anyway, his body isn't there, just so you know. Uh, so yeah, that was your boy Tsuno Hokage. Oh yeah, one more episode. I'm gonna watch episode 137 now, and I'm gonna review it. That's gonna be the fifth video. And yeah, I'll see you in a few seconds. Well, for me, it's gonna be more than a few seconds because I'm gonna watch the episode and then come back. But for you, it's only a few seconds. And yeah, this episode gets a 10 out of 10, obviously. Okay, I just finished watching Boruto episode 137, and I must admit that after everything we had so far in the last couple of episodes with the time travel arc and all of that, I didn't really expect an episode like this, but it was kind of refreshing. Now, before I get into my review, I'll say something that probably at least a couple of you failed to notice. After this episode ended, there was like the ending song, like just like how we have the ending song at the end of every episode. But then after the ending song, we actually have a couple of seconds, I guess, of the episode. Now I'm not referring to the episode preview. Every episode has a preview at the end, but basically between the preview and the ending song, there's a scene that belongs to the actual episode. Now, the Boruto anime did this a couple of times so far in its 137 episodes, and it's very irritating when the anime does this because, well, what's the point? Literally, like, what's the point? And I bet that every time a lot of people miss it because not everybody likes to see the episode preview because it spoils a lot, right? But I'm a YouTuber, so I always have to watch over these things, right? Now, the scene that appears at the end, I'm not going to spoil what it is. Go watch it. It's nothing huge. It's kind of funny, and it's not going to affect the rating that I'm gonna give to this episode, and it won't affect the review at all. So anyway, just go watch it after this video. But basically, this episode confirms it. Sumire isn't a shinobi anymore. Obviously, this was revealed ages ago in the manga. Anime-wise, this was hinted at many episodes ago. It was mentioned, but yeah, officially she's not a shinobi anymore. And despite this episode being go-lucky, kind of random, this is actually a huge thing, right? Because she's not a shinobi anymore. Now, Sumire is not one of the main characters, but she's one of the main side characters. I mean, the first arc of the anime, you know, she was one of the main characters in that arc, so she's not just like a random character. So this is actually a huge step in terms of like plot progression and stuff like that. She joins the scientific team. You could argue that is because she can 100% control the Nue, which was shown earlier in the anime. Maybe it's because she still feels guilty about what happened. Maybe she's just curious about the scientific ninja tech stuff. Whatever the case may be, or whatever her primary reason for this decision might be, she's not a shinobi anymore, and we had a party. It's funny because the next episode, if you saw the preview, is also gonna have like a party. So 2 parties in a row. That's interesting. The anime is being too happy at the moment, so potentially we might get some dark stuff in the near future. I mean, the Mujina Bandits arc will start getting animated in January of 2020, and after that it's gonna be much darker, because yeah, that's when we're in the manga territory. But anyway, going back to this episode, Tsubaki was introduced in this episode. She's like a transfer student. I mean, she's temporary here. She's not here forever. Mifune was mentioned. God, I can't remember when the last time I'm losing my words, guys. But basically, I haven't heard of this guy's name in a long time. I used to use him in Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. I really liked him. But yeah, I mean, he was mentioned in this episode. Tsubaki is his last disciple or whatever. And honestly, again, because I don't want to make this video too long, and there have been already like 4 reviews in this video, so I'm going to be short with this and not going to analyze too much. But basically, my main complaint about Tsubaki is that she was kind of melodramatic. Now I get it, like identity politics, tribalism shit going on in this episode. Like, okay, you're shinobi and I'm samurai, therefore, because you're not from my tribe, everything you do and everything you stand for is shit. Like, I get that, and it's like a cool concept, but I still think it was exaggerated. I still think it was exaggerated. She was overly negative about everything shinobi related, like very negative. And Wasabi reacted very emotionally to it. You know, the interactions were funny and all that, and at the end we had a nice little conclusion where Tsubaki saw the shinobi resolve that Wasabi and Amida had, and all of that was great. But again, overall, the basic premise, you know, Tsubaki's attitude, I thought it was kind of forced. So therefore, this episode gets a 9.5 and not a 10. A nice slice of life episode, a refreshing episode after such a weird arc, you know, the time travel arc, a semi-big step when it comes to the progression of the plot because Sumire is not a ninja anymore. And yeah, 9.5. That was your boy Hokage, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.